Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Today I wanted to talk about the place humanity and our species find ourselves at right now, because it's a place where we've never been before, and a place which a lot of people are finding difficult to understand, to comprehend, because it's all so new and scary. There's definitely a lot of people out there who are scared right now, and as I've said many times before, as the soul doctors of the earth, I really feel that this is our time to step up and to help people, which is why we're going to begin the Healing Laboratory, which is why we're going to try lots of projects which hopefully will help raise the consciousness around our planet so people don't live in a constant state of fear. Firstly, I wanted to mention some dreams and visions that I've been having over the last few weeks. Maybe you guys have been having the same ones, I don't know. But the first one I had was of this huge earthquake which was going to strike on planet Earth. And I don't want to say this to strike fear into you, because actually this can often be a great metaphor for what's going on. Yes, there could be some physical earthquakes, there always are around the planet, but having spoken to some experts, because I thought I was getting these visions for a reason, a lot of them said that often we dream in metaphors, so an earthquake just shows us a big change. A lot of people having to deal with something which they might call a disaster, but actually is a human disaster rather than a natural earthly disaster. And I saw earthquakes, I saw volcanoes erupting, I saw a tsunami sweeping across many countries. And again, I think this could well be a metaphor for what the Earth is going through right now, this huge moment of transition as COVID-19 finishes, as the uprisings around the world about gender and about race start to have an even bigger impact. I also have this vision where lots of people are stuck in this huge hole, and I'm reaching out my hand, trying to get hold of them and save them. And I think this is a metaphor for the fact that our race and our species shouldn't try and rely on the old ways of trying to save people by just reaching out a hand. That we have to use our superpowers, use our energy bodies, the skills and techniques that perhaps a lot of human beings aren't even aware we have. And that is why it's so important right now that we not only become the soul doctors, but we also become the teachers, the wisdom sharers, as we share our wisdom and our knowledge that we've gained about our energy fields and how we can do so much more than just physically help people by putting a plaster over the cut. We've got to really go to the root and use our skills as soul doctors to help people. And at the moment, there's not enough awareness about this. A lot of people still pour cold water on this way of healing people, but in 50 years, maybe 100 years, this is going to completely change, and it will be completely accepted that all the experiments that people like Joe Dispenza, that Alberto Villoldo have been doing to prove scientifically that what we're doing actually makes an impact on people in a big way. And what we're seeing now is the great breaking down of the old system. The old system, which served humans very well for many years, is now out of date. It's not completely obsolete, but very soon it will be. And the main pillars of this have been our health service, the governments and the hierarchy, and the education system. And what you're finding now is that all these are being questioned in a big, big way. All around the planet, people are starting to realize, as they have a little bit more time, as they raise their vibration, that actually these are very old and they're based on serving humanity in an old way, in the old system. And the way we need to go, the place we need to go to, we really need to do something extra special. And so we need to look at these systems, the education system, which is very focused on passing test exams, the very basic mathematics and science and geography, and we need to look at it and we go, does that really serve us? Does it prepare us for our lives? What is the main thing that happens in our lives now? Well, to be honest, I think our lives are going to change hugely, but ultimately, the first thing I think of is preparing ourselves for a life of love and for relationships, and the fact that eventually we will die. And whereas in the past we've talked about religion and looked at the history, yes, we can learn from that, but I think what's going to happen now is the education system is going to prepare us for the now. He's going to prepare us for a completely different future, so that when we fall out of love, when we get into relationships with people, we know how to deal with it emotionally. When we see people are sick, that we help talk to them, that we prepare them to die, that we prepare ourselves to die. And these used to be crucial things. I also think another part of education which is going to come back is astrology. I mean, that is the map of our lives, and if we can know that basic map of our lives, then we can build ourselves around it, we can build our lives around it, we can make sure we go into the right thing where we can help people. And of course, education is also a spiritual thing, and whereas before we talked about the old religions and about Jesus and whatnot, and of course these are still part of the new religions, but the way we taught it was in a way of controlling, and that's going to have to change, because the spirituality of this planet is going to become really important in these times of revolution. And the second major pillar which is going to have to be looked at is the health service. I mean, this has been pushed to its absolute limits over the last few months. And I think people have started to realise that as amazing as people are, human beings, as the medical workers and all the people that work in the hospitals and in the key service areas, these people cannot work like that for the rest of their lives. Of course, COVID will settle down, there will be more viruses, but the health service is so pharmaceutically based and funded from these pharmaceutical areas. But in truth, this is not how humans can move forward. We cannot just give people pills to deal with symptoms. We have to start getting to the root of all the medical problems and find out why they got sick in the first place. Is it a trauma? Is it something that comes from their ancestry? Is it something that happened in their lives where they didn't know how to deal with it emotionally, and therefore they stored these negative thoughts in these places, and that is where the illness came from. I think society is going to discover just how important nutrition is to our lives and to our health and to our brains and to our education and to our thinking and to our loving. And so this is another pillar which is really going to come into question, and I think, again, people like yourselves who are nutritionists or people who understand the value of putting the right things into our bodies, that we are what we eat, are going to be absolutely crucial in helping rebuild this pillar once it's been knocked down. Finally, there's lots of things that are going to change, but actually the governments and the hierarchy that exists in the current structure are also going to come crumbling down. It won't happen immediately, but any kind of corruption, any kind of dishonesty is going to be brought forward and is going to be exposed. And this is as we step forward into our truth, into our honesty as a planet. And again, it's not going to happen immediately. Things will start to come out, but it could be 10 years, 15 years before it's completely surfaced. But I think by 2026 we're going to see a big change in the way governments work, and I think hierarchies will disappear. I think the economy obviously is in big trouble right now, so I think this is the beginning of the end of the economy as we know it. And so what is likely to happen is this slowly is broken down and we start to live in smaller communities again. Transportation as we know it is also really being changed and being challenged right now. This will also see some huge changes in this. Our need to constantly travel will be reduced, although it will still be there, but in a different way. And honestly, I think as we live in a more digital world, we will understand that the actual physical need to be in a different place constantly, or to be moving from place to place, will be reduced vastly. And so we'll live in a world which still moves around, but is very much more focused on local communities, eating locally, working locally, and speaking to people on different sides and different corners of the planet. So huge changes coming. And I really believe that the dreams I'm having about the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the tsunamis, yes, there may be all three of these natural disasters coming at some point, but don't spend your life worrying about this happening, because in truth I think a lot of it is a metaphor for the breaking down of the current structure for the breaking down of the hierarchy, for the changes, the huge changes in the health service, in the education system, in the spiritual perspective of this planet. And it's up to you guys who have got great wisdom, great knowledge. You guys are going to be so important in the way we move forward. And this generation will be remembered for this. It won't just be about COVID-19. It won't just be people talking about these, the whole world being in lockdown. It will also be the people who step forward, the spiritual leaders, the leaders of this new innovative age, this age where we work together as a team, where the hierarchy comes down, where the whole transport system changes, where the health service moves from pharmaceutical-based, symptom-based, to a much more shamanic meditation, self-love, energy healing system. And that is where our generation will be remembered, because we saw the light before the light was on. And we've changed it, and we've started to heal people using our energy, using our superpowers, as opposed to just taking a pill and thinking everything's going to be okay. So big changes afoot. Don't be scared of anything. Know that what you're doing is perfect. Keep meditating. Keep raising the consciousness of the planet. Keep raising your own vibration. Keep living in a place of love. Don't come from a place of fear, because that place is unfortunately where a lot of people are going to struggle. This is not a time to be scared. This is a time to be incredibly excited. We are honoured to be living on this planet right now. 2020 is a momentous, magical, life-changing year, and we are here, and we chose to be here. And the reason we did was to challenge our soul to grow and to show the world that we can step forward and we can help people, and that we can change this earth to a new earth, as Eckhart Tolle calls it, as a new planet, as a planet where we live in harmony with our beautiful, beautiful solar system and with our universe. I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you for being you. I love you so much. Take care. Namaste.